you want to support them in their faith, obviously. I mean, it's, as a chaplain, there's a religious connotation to what that role is.
Mm,
Um, and everything I do comes from that perspective. I see, that they are a child of God, and it doesn't matter what they look like, how they talk, how they act. This is who they are, and it's my job to love them as best
mhm,
as I can, the way that Jesus would love them, and to journey with them, to walk with them. I think a few years back when they had that synod on young people in the church and vocations,
mhm,
there was a lot of conversation that Pope Francis had about walking with them, about accompaniment, the art of accompaniment. And
mhm,
required reading for anybody who's gone into youth ministry in the last, I want to say 30 years, has always been the story of Jesus on the road to Emmaus. And
mhm,
it's this discussion of how do you how do you walk with someone? Well, Jesus walked with them away from Jerusalem, even though he wanted them to be in Jerusalem. Jesus listened to their stories before he tried to tell them what was really going on. And that's, to me, that's been the heart of it's been at the heart of my job for 26 years now. Whichever ministry I've been in, parish, school, camp, it's the chance to walk with young people. And so in a parish, you're dealing with young people who want to be there. And so
mhm.
generally they'll, I mean, yeah, there's a handful whose parents sort of force them to be there, and they it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Here
yeah.
here in a publicly funded Catholic school, we have in Alberta like you have in Ontario.
Mhm,
It's a bit more of a captive audience, and so their perspectives on faith are vastly dramatic. But the gift of a publicly funded Catholic school is that I have the chance to talk to kids about faith, about Catholicism, and about Jesus that might never ever have that conversation with anyone. And maybe it produces fruit in them in the here and now, and maybe it's the sort of thing that comes back around for them in 5 or 10 years. There are every now and then I get an email from an alumni saying, you said this thing, you maybe don't remember it, but you know I now understand what you meant, or I've been able to dig in a little bit more on that, or I never forgot it. And to me, those there are hard days in these sorts of ministries, days where kids break your heart, because you see what they're doing, and you know that it's not going to do it's not gonna fill the hole they're looking to fill. At least not the way that they want it to. They're Augustine, the restless hearts. But I've got 100 stories of them on the other side where they surprise me, and and this is what keeps me coming back to it day after day after day. It's crazy.
yeah.
26 years of youth ministry.
That's amazing. That is so fantastic. The countless numbers of students you've been able to impact through these camps, and yeah, I really like that point that you bring up about publicly funded Catholic schools, and I'm a product of it. Like my family, we didn't really practice. I'm a revert. Like at 13, I just stopped going, but then suddenly had to go to public, or I suddenly had to start going to Catholic school, and it does have a lasting impact, even though it may take quite some time for some to come around to the faith. But for people like yourself, uh, that work is so important. Big shout out to Miss Wanda Plasowitz. If you ever come across this at St. Rob's, you were fantastic. Thank you for your patience.
Well, and
uh,
I could add to that, because the reason I was at church that Sunday so many
mhm.
years ago, the day Tracy introduced herself, was because Phyllis Morrison, my religion teacher in grade 9, had insisted that we be there.
Oh, okay.
For well, it was community service hours, so I was altar serving. I didn't really. It was the only time I ever went to church at that point in time, was if I was altar serving, and it was to meet those hours that Mrs. Morrison asked of us. So there is a tie back to Catholic schools. Getting it. Are they perfect places? No, but tell me a perfect place outside of heaven, and
Eh,
I,
precisely, precisely,
I don't know that I would
precisely.
believe you.